Dexter is back, but not in the way we expected. Sure, he's alive, and well, we could have gathered that much, but if you haven't been paying attention to all the behind-the-scenes leaks and marketing, you might not have thought that he'd be showing up in the Big Apple. Yes, that's right. We've gotten to the point in the franchise where Dexter takes Manhattan. So, what happens in these first 2 episodes? Let's dig into it. Episode 1 of Dexter Resurrection starts us off with a host of welcome surprises amidst the more obvious continuations. Dex has to undergo surgery for the bullet he took from Harrison at the end of Dexter New Blood, a bullet which the police believe to have come from Dexter's now ex-girlfriend, Angela, the former sheriff of the small town of Iron Lake. While recovering from his rather serious injury, Dexter is treated to a series of ghostly cameos from various past acquaintances. The first and most surprising has to be John Lithgow as the long-deceased Trinity killer Arthur Mitchell, who has aged surprisingly well, by the way. He's followed by the equally dead Miguel Prado, once again played by Jimmy Smits, who goes a bit against character by suggesting the two of them were actual friends, whereas in the real life of the show, Prado was always using Dexter as a pawn. Prado basically explains to Dex that everyone he tries to get close to inevitably dies, which will become more relevant as Dexter pursues Harrison later in the show, but refuses to directly engage with him. Before we get to the next cameo, we have to journey to New York City's Empire Hotel, where Harrison is now working as a bellhop. He's also living in the hotel thanks to his maybe-girlfriend Elsa, who sets him up with empty rooms to live in. He's also taken the time since leaving Iron Lake to get his GED, so he's no longer a high school dropout. Good for him. He also appears to be a stoner, so doubly good for him. In addition to pushing him to get his GED, Elsa is also utilizing Harrison to babysit her kid, but we'll get to that later. Her introductory scene also throws down some exposition about an upcoming gala at the hotel, which will no doubt come into play later on in the season, as it's also brought up later in episode 2. This introductory scene also shows off Harrison's particular way of tying trash bags, which will also come into play later. Whole lot of setup for a relatively quick scene. Oh, and speaking of which, we even meet this douchebag Ryan, a rich playboy whom Harrison helps out. This includes getting Ryan vape pens, which might dispel Harrison being a stoner, which is too bad because I was just starting to like the kid. Anyway, after a brief hallucination and meeting a woman named Shauna, we take a break from Harrison and return back to Dexter's journey through Dreamland. Homeboy is still in a coma, wherein he sees his dad Harry, who pushes back on Dexter, thinking the world would be better off without him. Harry finishes out the scene by assuring Dexter that Harrison still needs him. You can already imagine where this is leading. We then get one last apparition, and the second most surprising, the one and only James Dokes.
Surprise,
Once again played by Eric King, whom you might recall was killed off way back in Season 2. Like with Prado, being a figment of Dexter's imagination comes with it a little bit of character revisionism. Dokes, like Harry, pushes for Dex to find Harrison and take care of him. It's after this cameo that Dexter finally wakes up from his coma, which he's been in for 10 weeks. He's told that the only thing that saved him was getting shot in 0-degree weather, something a lot of fans assumed might be the case when Dexter Resurrection was first announced, and Michael C. Hall noted that it's really cold out there, so that answers that nagging question. Back to the Empire Hotel, Harrison helps Ryan bring the very indisposed Shauna up to his room. Harrison, being the smart kid that he is, immediately realizes something is up, especially when Shauna asks,
"What's in that drink?"
Long story very short, Harrison doesn't take too kindly to Ryan's assaulty indiscretions and decides to intervene at the last minute, killing Ryan in the process. Dude really lets him have it too, literally breaking a toilet tank lid over this prick's head. It's a cathartic moment, but one which forces Harrison to use what his daddy-o taught him during the previous season. He escorts Shauna back to her room with relative ease and uses the chemicals available to him to clean up the bloody mess. He even utilizes the hotel kitchen to dismember the body into 9 pieces, just like Papa Dex. It's a delightfully gory sequence, just what you bloodthirsty sickos wanted. Unfortunately, Harrison doesn't realize that he's left a single drop of blood on the kitchen ceiling, leading to the question of just what else he may have missed. Dex is briefly worried about his chances post-coma, when he's visited by the new acting sheriff of Iron Lake, Teddy Reed. Teddy gives a little exposition about Angela leaving town and taking responsibility for Dex getting shot. A pretty unlikely event, but that's the show for you. If our anti-hero isn't getting away through unlikely means, is it even a season of Dexter? I think not. Anyway, detectives Claudette Wallace and Melvin Oliva are on the case after Harrison's handiwork is discovered by some sanitation workers. Claudette is presented as your typical maverick cop, capable of seeing what others cannot, and she notices Harrison's unique way of tying garbage bags. She also notices that Ryan is missing his watch, which he had previously given to Harrison to have repaired. Presumably, this will come into play later. Meanwhile, amidst his physical therapy, Dexter is visited by a very real friend from his past, Detective Angel Batista, whom we last saw attempting to make it to Dexter at the end of New Blood. After some friendly exposition, including the doctor letting us know that Dexter is still in need of several weeks of therapy before he's back to normal, our guy is informed by his physical therapist that there's been a horrific murder in New York City, one that seems awfully familiar. Knowing that time is running short, Dexter absconds in the truck of a conspiracy theorist who just died in the hospital. At the same time, the Empire Hotel is under investigation by the NYPD, and Claudette is quick to clock Harrison as a person of interest. At the end of this first episode, we're introduced to Uma Thurman's mysterious Charlie, who we know from behind-the-scenes material is working for Peter Dinklage's mysterious billionaire Leon Prater. She leaves an invitation of some kind for a serial killer, although that's about all we get in this initial episode, which ends with Dexter arriving in New York City and conveniently seeing Harrison as soon as he pulls up to the Empire Hotel. Now, with that achievement unlocked, we continue into episode 2. It opens with a hooded stranger taking an Uber knockoff called a Your Car. The episode plays with shadow really nicely here, as it seems at first like this stranger might be Dexter, but we quickly realize that's not the case as he brutally murders his rideshare driver. While it's hard to know for sure, this guy, later dubbed the Dark Passenger by the media, might be the serial killer big bad of the season. Dexter, meanwhile, has decided not to let Harrison know he's alive. Instead, he sneaks into the hotel and ensures that Harrison didn't make any mistakes. After finding that Kiddo did things by the book, Dexter even finds the blood drop on the kitchen ceiling and cleans up Harrison's one obvious mistake. However, Detective Claudette is more savvy and notices that the bathroom where the murder took place is far cleaner than a hotel bathroom should be, meaning that whoever the murderer is had knowledge of forensics. So she orders the other rooms be checked for cleanliness, which shows that her theory is correct. Our boy Harrison isn't having a great time post-murder, seeing the specter of Ryan here and there, much to his chagrin. He babysits Elsa's kiddo, Dante, whom he brings a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic book. Elsa lets Harrison know that Dante's having some sort of asthma issues, something that will no doubt come into play in a later episode. Back in Iron Lake, Batista is on Dexter's trail, questioning Teddy, our favorite Iron Lake exposition machine. Teddy promises to check in on Dexter's truck, which is a questionable moment since Dexter didn't take his pickup truck to New York. Still, this will likely lead to Batista making it to New York in a later episode, most likely after Teddy gets a hit on the truck Dexter stole at the hospital. Coincidentally, Dexter's stolen truck is impounded thanks to a parking violation, which leads him to taking a Your Car to get to the impound lot. His driver, named Blessing, is a friendly dude who tells Dexter about the recent spate of rideshare killings. And lucky for Dex, who's immediately intrigued by the situation, Blessing invites him to a dinner party with his family, where a friend of his who escaped the killer will also be. And he even has video of the incident. It shows that the killer wears a hood equipped with infrared lights to hide his identity from cameras. At this same party, Dex is offered a place to stay, a basement apartment underneath Blessing's place. He takes the offer, acknowledging that he needs a permanent address to get a job. Back in the Claudette plot, she notices Shauna in the security footage and requests that she be brought in for questioning. As they enter the hotel, Claudette notices Shauna and Harrison exchanging a look, leading to Harrison being brought in as well. Oh no! Investigating the Dark Passenger, Dexter finds a potential suspect in Ronald Schmidt, thanks to the killer's bag seen in the dashcam footage. It's another big leap, but one that leads Dexter to following the Dark Passenger, or imposter as Dex calls him, who attempts to get a ride with a Your Car driver, only for Dexter to interrupt and follow him, thereby saving the driver's life. Unfortunately, our boy is still recovering from the whole getting shot in the chest thing, and he loses Schmidt on the subway. As Harry notes, it's a little weird for Dexter to actively save lives, another thread no doubt ready for exploration later in the season. And that's it. The episode ends with Dexter adamant about killing Ronald Schmidt while Harrison is in the claws of the NYPD. What'll happen next? Well, we'll just have to wait and find out in episode 3. What did you think of these initial 2 episodes? Did I miss any important details? Let me know in the comments, and thank you for watching Screen Rant.